promise this. Fresh sound on the Brandon Aiyuk situation. This is from NFL Network. Ian Rappaport, what do you make of this?
My first reaction to this, seeing it was on TikTok, was like, wow, who filmed this and posted it? But it was literally Brandon Aiyuk who filmed it himself. I don't know if he was actually doing the filming, but he certainly did the posting, clearly sending a message to his former teammate and maybe everyone that in his mind, the 49ers don't want him. But they do want him. They just want him at their price. It is not a negotiation, to my knowledge, that has been completely dead. They just have not done a deal yet. And it's pretty clear that Brandon Aiyuk wants the kind of money that Amon-Ra St. Brown ended up making, about $28 million average over the first 3 years of his deal. The 49ers are not there yet. They like him. They really like him. They just have not been able to come together on a deal. So maybe that's kind of the feeling that Brandon Aiyuk was trying to give out.
All right, first of all, someone's got to call him. I can't do this anymore, this Brandon Aiyuk thing. We got to stop. If we're going to do this for another 2 months, there were 3 Aiyuks in that sound clip.
Yeah.
We got it. Like, dude, you're Ian, like, Rappaport. You can't do this. He's been in the league for 4 years. He's going for 1,300 yards. It's not Aiyuk. Aiyuk. No,
he was close. Yeah.
No, not close. It's not
close enough.
No.
Aiyuk.
We're not doing Aiyuk.
It would be Aiyuck if it was Aiyuk. And if it was, yeah.
It's so bad.
Aiyuk. It's not that tough. But I do think it's interesting what he says about, where he sees the contract going. And, if Brandon wants Amon-Ra money, average of $28 a year, and the team right now is sitting at 26, a reported $26 million a year. If they're really that close, I don't have any worry about the fact that this does eventually get done.
You know this. I have no worry. Because it's June 17th.
Yeah.
And that's not time to worry yet. But again, for those of you who didn't hear, and Ian is referencing the TikTok from Brandon Aiyuk, and this is what he posted on TikTok, and he's talking to Jaden Daniels, number 2 overall pick of the Washington Commanders, and his girlfriend is present as well.
What happened, bro? They said they don't want me back.
I swear. They said they don't want me back. I swear. And again, this thing, I wish we could show it all to you. Some of you, I'm sure, have seen the video of it. It's like his girlfriend's in the background. She's vlogging. Jaden Daniels is on FaceTime. They set that screen up so that you can see that as well on Brandon's screen.
Well, he's watching himself on his screen.
And then
very well done.
The only little part we get is that. They said they don't want me back. I swear. And that's it. That's all you get. This is as staged can be. This is to send a message. This is to show your frustration. This is try to get a lot of people. I've noticed this also about Brandon. If it dies down for a few days, you get something on social.
Of course.
Because Brandon and his agent, they want his name out there. They want stress. They want you stressed.
Well, yeah, they want us stressed, but the Niners aren't stressed.
No.
And you were mentioning earlier the image of Parag Marathe on vacation on a boat having a drink, and I immediately was thinking about a Mai Tai or something that involves an umbrella. It's a colorful drink with an umbrella, and he probably has TikTok, and he opens it up, and he looks at it, and he probably giggles and says more. Yeah. How about a daiquiri this time? Let's go for the daiquiri.
I honestly, I picture Parag watching this while having his lips on a straw.
Exactly.
Right? Not his lips on a farmer, his lips on a straw.
He's got sandals on and a Hawaiian shirt. Exactly.
Yep. Delicious.
And then he checks his pulse. 54.
It didn't go up.
It didn't go up. So you mentioned stress.
That's awesome.
I don't think that Brandon Aiyuk is stressed. I think that he understands.
I think Brandon Aiyuk is stressed.
I don't think so.
I do.
I think that he understands that this is how the game is played.
But he's angry. TJ Houshmandzadeh has told us as much, Brandon's personal coach, When this happens, you get mad.
Well, it's personal.
Right.
Personal.
You think about it now. Is he stressed? All right. Well, he's due to make $14.1 million. He's really good. Someone's reportedly offering him $26 million. That's not stress. Like, boy, a lot of people would love to have those problems. But if you count anger as a stressed emotion, he's angry. He's angry because Amon-Ra and because Jalen Waddle and because A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
And if all of that is happening there, why? Why am I 26? Why?
Yeah.
Why are you kicking dirt on me? And I know a lot of people are like, $26 million?
You can kick dirt on me for $26 million.
But that's how it's translated. And I get it. I get it because it's no different than what Clay is doing. Clay will never worry about money ever again. Who cares what you make? Play for free, Clay. Why don't you play for free? The only reason he doesn't play for free is because he can see that out on the open market and
there's value.
Right, in comparison to other players. And oh, by the way, there's a players union pressure here. You know, for those of you, Brandon, just take it. 26 is great. You don't think that he gets a phone call from the players union? You get to 1,360 yards and you took 26? Jalen Waddle got 28 and a half. He only went for 1,000. Brandon, what are you doing?
Well, and there's also agent pressure. Because the agent, he's getting a piece of whatever the contract is signed, and the agent has an organization that he undoubtedly works for. So it's more than just, we'll just take 26. I'm going to be rich, and that's great. It's the guaranteed money. It's the actual number, the guaranteed number at signing. That's a factor. It's all these different things that have to get worked out. And I do believe that they will. But, Brandon Aiyuk is going through and doing what modern athletes do now. They handle it passive-aggressively through social media. And I just wonder about, his choice of the phrase, they say they don't want me. Like, who said that they don't want you? I've never heard anything from the Niners other than he's great and they want him.
Well, again, listen to Ian Rappaport. And we apologize for the Aiyuks. Listen to his response about that. What does Brandon mean by they told me they don't want me?
My first reaction to this, seeing it was on TikTok, was like, wow, who filmed this and posted it? But it was literally Brandon Aiyuk who filmed it himself. I don't know if he was actually doing the filming, but he certainly did the posting, clearly sending a message to his former teammate and maybe everyone that in his mind, the 49ers don't want him. But they do want him. They just want him at their price. It is not a negotiation, to my knowledge, that has been completely dead. They just have not done a deal yet. And it's pretty clear that Brandon Aiyuk wants the kind of money that Amon-Ra St. Brown ended up making, about $28 million average over the first 3 years of his deal. The 49ers are not there yet. They like him. They really like him. They just have not been able to come together on a deal. So maybe that's kind of the feeling that Brandon Aiyuk was trying to give out.
Yeah, my guess, and again, that's all it is. We're just translating social media over here, but my guess would be that Brandon is like, look, if all these receivers, if you've got receivers who are clearly below me on the ladder, and whether you agree with this or not, in this moment in NFL circles, Jalen Waddle is below Brandon Aiyuk on the ladder. He just is. It's the way it is. Those are your numbers last year. You're clearly your team's number 2 receiver. You're below Brandon Aiyuk on the ladder. All right. And he's making 28 and a half. And the Niners are like 26, last offer. Well, Brandon's like, well, okay, then you're telling me you don't like me. You're telling me you don't want me.
Right.
Right. So, although even Rappaport there is like, they like Aiyuk. They really like him.
Just, depending on the price.
They didn't say they love him. I mean,
right.
And again, I think that the 49ers are very, very, they're very smart. And they're very firm with how they handle this stuff. They're not going to budge until they have to budge. And they don't have to budge yet.
Yeah.
But would I be shocked if the 49ers are flippant with this. That's what they're also not. The Niners are not flippant.
No, they're patient and they're measured. They're always very measured. And they, I'm sure, have a number where they are going to settle and they can feel like, the deal is going to get done. And you mentioned it before, and I agree with you that, deadline spurs action. We aren't even near the deadline. The Niners know it, and Brandon Aiyuk knows it as well. So he can sit back and TikTok, and he can get everyone revved up with they don't like me. You can see that. And we all know how this is going to go. It's going to be another month, maybe another 2 months. And finally, as we get close to camp and a real report date, this will get done somewhere between 26 and 29.
Maybe we sound different than I think we sound. That happens sometimes. Text 415. Thanks. You guys have convinced me I'm out on BA as well. I'm not out on BA.
At all.
I'm like all in on Brandon Aiyuk. I'm over here in what I think is corner position A, what most people are predicting. I'm in on this. I am in on a Brandon Aiyuk extension and one more year of Deebo Samuel. I wish it didn't have to be that way, but if you are convinced that something has to give, you cannot have two $25 to $30 million receivers and a first-round draft pick all in the same wide receiver room long term. If you're convinced of that, and I am, then how would you play it? Would you trade one of them? Well, they didn't. They still could. Would you play hardball with Brandon? I wouldn't. I would sign Brandon Aiyuk to an extension, and I would try to win the Super Bowl this year with your top two receivers. And then I would probably move on from Deebo Samuel before he moves into his 30s, where I think he's going to have a hard time staying on the field.
And you could get to a spot in the offseason where you trade Deebo Samuel, or you can just outright cut him and take the cap hit. I don't know how that would work, but yeah, I think that makes the most sense. You bring everyone back, you try to win the Super Bowl, and then you kick the can down the road. And you can't really do that with Brandon Aiyuk. You could and have him play on his fifth-year option, but I don't think that that's ideal for the player or for the team. And I don't believe the threat of the Niners, using the franchise tag on him. The Niners don't use the franchise tag. And I don't think that you would take a guy in his fifth-year option who would clearly be somewhat disgruntled. He would still probably play hard because he's playing for his next contract. Sure. But I don't think that then franchising him and having him be even more unhappy, and the franchise tag number would be north of $30 million for that subsequent year. It's not good business.
One, it sounds miserable. The whole process sounds miserable. And I don't think the 49ers and Brandon want to be miserable for the next 2 years. Like when you really, really end up at odds with a player, and that player is like, I'm angry, and the Niners are like, that's not awesome. No, but when they're like, I'm angry, I don't want to be here anymore. And the team is like, well, we're holding you hostage because we're not going to, like what you're describing is Trent Williams in Washington. That's not, who wins there?
No one, yeah.
Trent ends up missing 2 years of his career. Washington ends up having to sell him for absolute nickels. What'd the Niners give up for Trent Williams? A fifth or something? What'd they give up for the best left tackle in the NFL? Like literally pennies in terms of what his worth is.
You're right. And a third.
Fifth and a future third? Was that it?
Yep.
That's ridiculous. The best left tackle in football. So Washington did not win there. Maybe you could argue Trent extended his career because he just sat there and rested for a little while. But long term, nobody's going to win there. Brandon's going to miss the fifth and sixth year of his career. The 49ers are not going to have their best receiver. And what? Trade him in a year and a half for somebody's future fourth? Yuck.
Yeah.
That's a yuck.
Totally. And they know it. And, Brandon knows it. And TJ Houshmandzadeh can say, well, he's not playing on that fifth-year option. He can say that all he wants. But if the Niners do try to play this game of chicken and force him to play the fifth-year option year out at $14.1 million, Brandon, I think, would have to suck it up and get out there and play because the downside is too much for him if he doesn't.
Yeah, so I highly doubt that it'll end up there, but we're just in a spot now where I would get ready for more of this. Listen to the way Ian even starts that conversation. Wow, who filmed this and put it on TikTok? Oh wait, Brandon did.
Exactly. I mean, it was not a caught you in a gotcha moment.
No, D'Angelo Russell is not a part of this story.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Really
Anyway,
quick, just thinking about that Trent Williams trade. 5th round pick in 2020, 3rd round pick in 2021. The two players that the Washington football team ended up selecting with those picks that netted the 49ers the best left tackle in the league. A center from San Diego State, Keith Ishmael, and a cornerback, Benjamin St. Juste from Minnesota. He actually starts and plays for them. But,
A starting corner, what's the center doing?
Not much.
Is he on the team?
I can check.
Even make the team? So... Nobody.
He's now an Arizona Cardinal.
Okay. It's not going that way.
No.
This can't go that way. And I do think it's significant and important for people to hear that Brandon is the one who posted this. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to call it a cry for help. It's not a cry for help.
No.
Brandon's fine. But it's just a shot of, it's just venting. He's venting.
And he's trying to get the fans to rally up and make some noise. And that's what the fans are doing because we're all talking about it. And so you put that out there and you realize that fans who don't really care about the cap, they don't really care about Parag Marathe, all due respect. They don't care about the 49ers financial situation and the future and all the rest of it. They want their favorite player or one of their favorite players to be a 49er. So fans get all up in arms and they make all this noise about, the Niners, just pay him, and you got to do it, and you better do it, and all the rest of it. And meanwhile, Brandon just hangs out on his phone with former teammates.
That's why I say the idea of stress is Brandon's friend right now. You create the public chaos.
Right.
And the hope is that the 49ers get uncomfortable because people are starting to really get worried about